M634 came at 1976, and it took over from the E9 model. And the M635 came at 1984 and went on to 1989. They were made about 5,855, I think. And for Sweden, there only went 17 cars. Or 15, I don't remember exactly. And then were made about 88 to 89. Before that, they couldn't take this car into Sweden because of the exhaust regulations. And I think it's also because of the horsepower. Back in the days, in 1984, they compared this one to a Ferrari because it was almost as expensive as the Ferrari that time. This car was more made for higher up. They were made for people with money, and I can see why.
Tell me the story about yours in particular. How did you end up buying one?
This one I came up with at 2003, and before that I had a 635 CSi. It had individual seats and interior in it. Why I came in to buy a BMW at first is because my father almost, since I was 5 years old I think, he had a E9 2800 CS, and then he bought a newer one, a 75 CSi, and he still got it left.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's why I like BMW so much.
So you've owned this car for 14 years,
yeah,
right? And in what state did you buy it?
It was rough, real rough. It was painted in wrong color. The engine had broke down. It was several cracks in the head, and the exhaust valves were, 3 of them were broken. When I had it for about 2-3 weeks, I was thinking about restoring it.
So how much time did the initial restoring process so you can get it into good shape?
I've been counting about 2,000 hours. So between 2003 and 2006 I was restoring it. I was afraid I was going to find a lot of rust on it, but this one was particularly in good shape because it had been standing in a garage for about 7 years. So I didn't find much of it. A couple of small places, usual places.
Did you do most of the work yourself?
Yeah, I didn't make the engine head, and I didn't paint it, of course, but everything else I have done. So I think in summer 2006 I was out and driving it for the first time.
What other extra bits have you added to the car?
Besides its original shape, I got these BBS rims. They were from my other 635. Then these M-Technique stripes you see here, they are original BMW. Otherwise there is coilovers on it because the handling was not that good. It's really soft in the chassis as it is standard. Otherwise it's just original parts.
Basically this is sort of the first M6 because they sold it in the US as an M6, right?
Yeah.
So as with any M car, I think one of the most interesting parts is the engine.
The engine called M88/3. The first one who had this engine was the M1 car.
The supercar, yeah.
Yeah, and that called M88-1. It has straight inline 6. It is 3,453 cubic centimeters, 24 valves, 286 horsepower, and 340
Newton meters.
Yeah, exactly.
Torque,
Newton meters torque. It's quite a lot because this car almost weighs about 1507 kilos.
And your engine is stock power, or?
No, it's not. I don't know exactly what it got in the engine, but it had 254.6 horsepower on the wheels.
And I've also heard it's quite loud. Did you do some work on the exhaust?
The exhaust is stainless. I had it redone for about 4 years ago, and I told him to make a exhaust system that can sound a little bit more, about 3,500 RPMs and up, and it does.
So you were telling me the story about the shifter, which looks brand new.
It's brand new, but it's still 20 years old.
That's a good find, yeah?
Yeah.
So, about the interior in general.
It's original.
It's original.
Yeah.
It's in really, really good condition.
It is. Just massage it with oil and conditioner and things
Yeah.
like that.
Do you drive this often, Patrick? This car?
Normally about 2,000 kilometers every year. And it should last all my life, I hope.
As you've told me when we first talked, that this is the second love of your life, right?
Yeah.
Well, I would see myself fall in love with something like this.
It's quite easy.
It feels really special.
It is special. It's a kind of special feeling to drive this old car, and still it goes as this well as it does.
What's your favorite thing about it?
The favorite thing, it's the lines of it.
I like the fact that it really looks good, but it also goes well.
Yeah, it goes quite well, and the sound of it is perfect. It's kind of nice before 3,500 RPMs, and then it just shoot off. So that's the thing with the M88, and it sounds so raw.
Yeah, exactly. I think the exhaust also helps, right? Because it's stainless steel.
Yeah, sure.
One thing I was always really curious about classic BMWs, because obviously you don't drive it in the winter, right? What do you do to maintain it so that it's...
I'm just waxing it and keep it clean. I move it in the garage for every second month, because otherwise the tires will be flat on the other, beneath the other side. And I start the engine for maybe 1 or 2 times every winter.
And you have no problems with it in the spring, right?
Oh no, it starts up directly. I had some issues a couple of times with it, but no bigger things, so I managed to fix it by myself.
So where do you usually drive the car?
It's 2 meetings and Mantorp Park for Business of Sweden.
Okay. So do you track the car?
I have had it on track, yeah.
That's cool.
That's why the coilovers are on it now.
That's a proper way to use this car, really.
I took my racing license in it.
Really?
Yeah.
Awesome.
But then I got a bit scared, because if I goes off the track and maybe damage the car, it would be quite expensive to fix it again. Because
I guess.
Because it's not that easy to get the parts. There are parts, but you have to find them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're really expensive.